First off, I want to thank the brave men and women who work behind the wall. I want to thank them on a national level because their job goes unrecognized.
How do they try to turn a guard?
Well, correctional officer. Sorry, I apologize. But correctional officer.
How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi, host of Tier Talk. Got a great question I want to ask you guys. The basic question is, the motivation that got you into the profession, is that the same motivation that keeps you in the profession? And I think it's a great question to ask because I saw an interview recently on a good friend of mine's channel. It was a great interview. And I was upset with the responses that he was getting from the interviews. When we come back from our sponsors, I'll break it down a little bit. But the question that came to my mind was about motivation. And did the motivation change as they progressed in their career? So we're going to discuss that a little bit today. Now, guys, if you haven't, the show Tier Talks for you brave men and women that work in corrections, so please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. That bell's going to notify you every time I post up a video. I stand by for our sponsor.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Thank you guys for listening to my sponsor. You know, Gary York did a great video on his channel the other day where he interviewed 4 retired heroes from the profession. And they gave their honest opinion of what they thought about the profession. Now, mind you that these heroes were retired, so they were brutally honest. And it's a great video because it gives us that perspective unfiltered. And we need that sometimes. I think we need that because we need to know how people feel without having to filter their feelings. So it's good if you ever want to know how someone really feels about their profession, especially in corrections, ask someone that's retired and they'll tell you the bitter truth of how they feel about that profession. Now, mind you, we're trying to get people in the profession, so it's good to hear this honest perspective of why they're kind of not 100% with the profession of corrections. And again, understandably so. They just became officers that got frustrated as to where the field was headed for multiple reasons. Most importantly, the administrative side of things. And again, I try not to generalize the concerns. Again, if I have a concern with somebody, it's specific to that individual. I don't generalize that concern to the whole department. But in some cases, sometimes we feel that it's coming from that whole department. But anyway, they had this generalized animosity about the profession. And again, it was a great video because I learned a lot from that perspective. But then a question came to me while watching this video was, what about if the motivation to enter the field changed once they got into the field? So basically, you may have individuals that find out what this profession really is about, and then their motivation to remain in the field becomes a little bit more realistic, if you will. And doesn't mean that our motivation to enter the field is 100% unrealistic. I don't know why you entered the field, but I entered the field I wanted to raise a family. I wanted to have a secured future. I wanted to be comfortable. And so far, the field of corrections has provided that for me. And that's a pretty realistic expectation from most professions, most reasons why you take a career. But unfortunately, for some people, they enter the field out of desperation because they need a job. So maybe their motivation is just simply, I need a job. And maybe they're told these promises of where the job is headed. And then when they finally get into the field, they realize, wow, none of those promises are actually being kept. And yet they still remain in the field. So I'm thinking, well, what's your motivation at that point? If the job is that bad, why do you remain there? Why do you stay 25 years in? And I think this is a great dialogue to have for our audience who may be on that track, maybe looking to step out or maybe looking for reasons to stay in. So ultimately the question is about the motivation. did your motivation change? Your motivation to get into the field, is that different than your motivation to remain in the field? And why is it different? For me, as I said, it kind of remained the same. That's why I'm comfortable where I'm at. That's why I'm happy where I'm at. I look for a career. I look to be comfortable. And the reason why I stay in the profession right now is because it provides me with that comfort level. I'm okay money-wise, and I'm happy with my job. I also look to move up, and I moved up. You know, I've secured ranks as custody. I'm now at the administrative level. So my motivation to enter the field, again, was being comfortable and a chance to move up, secure some ranks, secure some higher level achievement, and I have got that. So again, I'm remaining in the field because my motivation has kind of remained the same, no difference, and I'm happy. I'm just happy. So I'm wondering, for those in the audience right now whose motivation is slightly different, and different in a negative way, could be different in a positive way. Maybe there's something that you discovered as you progress in your career that was another added factor to the motivation. But what I'm trying to get is, did your motivation change? Like, did you have to swap what brought you in to something different that keeps you in? That's key, because I think that kind of defines why we remain in the profession or why we leave the profession. And again, are these motivations realistic? That's the key. And I'm curious as to what's your response on that. Definitely about the change of motivation, because I think that's something our audience needs to listen to. Did your motivation to enter the field change? And now, as you're remaining in the field, your motivation may be a little something different. So guys, just curious, love your response. Please comment. As always, the show is Tier Talk. If you haven't, please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. The bell's going to notify you each time I post a video. As always, guys, stay safe.